Hi, this is Angie at jonesing2create.com, and today I'm going to talk about how I made the Han Solo holster for my son's Halloween costume. This isn't intended to be an elaborate or super authentic holster. It was just something that was really fast and easy that I could do for his costume that was also cheap. I wanted to do something that would stand up to him because he is very active, and so it needed to be durable, but I also didn't want to spend a lot of money. And so what I did is I used kind of a tab system that could just be slid on to a regular belt. So if you look at these connectors over here, it's just a loop that I made that I could just slide onto the belt. And so this belt right here, you could just use any belt and then reuse it later. And it stayed on a lot better than maybe something that was like Velcro or made out of like foam or pleather. And so the first thing that I did to make this is I needed a pattern. We used my daughter's Princess Leia gun from a couple years ago. So it was slightly bigger than Han Solo's gun. And we could have bought the Han Solo one, but I figured, it's a kid's costume. And so we keep it easy. And so anyway, the first thing I did was I had to create a pattern. And so I laid the gun down and I just traced around the outside edge of the gun, leaving enough room for a seam. And then if you notice, I made a kind of a Y shape up at the top so that these would be the tabs that I would later sew the D-ring to. So that was the bottom of the gun. Now what I also did is for the top of the gun, I took another piece of paper, put it under my pattern, and then I traced around, leaving about a 1/2 inch of a seam. So that way when I sewed them together, it would form kind of a pocket. And then I also kind of cut right here just to give it a little dip. So that way when I sewed it together like this, you'll notice that it raises it a little bit. And so if you look at the finished product, you'll see that I was able to pucker this a little bit, and then it forms kind of a pocket that rises up. That way this can easily slide inside. And so whereas if they'd been the same size, it would have been a tighter fit. I also added a strap right here that I sewed on, and then with a little snap. And so then that way it holds the gun in while he's running around. Before I sewed this on, I also added the strap for his leg. And so it's just sewed on right here. I added some Velcro, and it's just a strap of the suede. The suede was really easy to work with. I loved it. And so there's the main part of the holster. And then if you look here, this is where I sewed the D-rings on, and then there's a D-ring here. Now, Han Solo does have 2 buckles, but I just stuck with the one because I figured it was going to be covered up by the vest anyway. And so with the D-ring, I just did another loop. I sewed it around it. And then I secured it with duct tape so that way it would stay in place. So if you look, that's a really nice, it's better than gluing it on. It's better than sewing it on because you can reuse it later. So if I want to later, I can just take the duct tape off, slide that piece off, and I'm good to go. For the buckle, I actually started out first. I cut this shape out just using a pattern I found online, and I covered it with some silver duct tape. But it looked cheap and it just didn't look like real metal. And so instead I took a pie tin and I took the shape and I cut out a pattern in the pie tin that I left some tabs that I could fold over. You can see the pictures of those tabs better on my blog to kind of get an idea how I did that. And so what I did is I just did the tabs, I folded them over, I folded the tabs over another loop, and so that helps hold it on. And so it's pretty sturdy because this is actually metal that's connected through here. And so then I just slid that over the tabs. I taped it. If you look, the D-ring's attached to that, and I slid it on too. And I've secured it in place with more duct tape. And so that's how I did the buckle. And I really liked how the pie tin worked, and it was really easy to cut through and work with, and it looks really nice. It also is really sturdy. It doesn't bend. I also made him a really fast droid collar. It's actually just a LED flashlight that I picked up at the 99-cent store, and I just covered it in some silver and some black duct tape. And so it's nice because he can use it as a flashlight while he's trick-or-treating, but it also kind of looks like the cold droid collar. So, and all this took me under an hour to make. It was really easy, and it was super cheap. I think I spent about $4 in supplies total. So you can see the full tutorial for the full costume at jonesing2create.com.